Welcome back, folks. Today we're talking about Flesh and Blood. We got the market conditions because it's flipping out of control. So today, very simple video. We got to talk about the sealed market, why the boxes of first edition Flesh and Blood have gone up so much, and is it really just a bubble? Is it just people hoarding them? Or is it a supply problem? I'm going to give you my opinion, kind of what I see going on all sides here. So before we get into the details, I want to kind of go over let's just kind of put some screenshots up here, do some fancy editing, like I actually, want to put some effort into the YouTube channel here. So, first, the old WTR boxes, the old welcome to Mr. Wrath there. Not Wraith, but if you want to call it Wraith, you can. So, the old welcome boxes here, the very first Flesh and Blood booster boxes ever made. The original alpha printing do not have the Legend Story Studio logo stamped on the wrapping. They do contain the original cold foil variants in the original boxes. Of course, the only real way to buy these was if you had, found in your local game store or a distributor at the very beginning, at least 6 months ago, when they were very cheap before the game started to grow. On average, these boxes were on the open market for about $80 to $100 a box. And, yeah, it really was about it. The price now, they're actually selling for $1,000 a box. I mean, if I knew it was going to go to $1,000 a box, I wouldn't have sold them all in a promotional kit. I would have kept 1,000 boxes. Holy smokes, that's insane. So my opinion, based on what I said here, when they went to $200-300 a box, I didn't think they were going to hold. So to see these box prices, I was skeptical when they tripled to $300. I was like, patrons were like, Rudy, should I kind of lock in? I bought some from you and the kit, so really my cost base is like $70 a box. Should I sell them? I was like, dude, if you can triple your money, that's really tough to say no to. But at the same time, you gotta use caution when you deal with collectibles, everybody. When you deal with a startup company in general, if the company continues to do well and manage the game very good, which they're doing, the box pricing is very difficult to judge the true value, because these original first printing alpha boxes, they didn't make a lot because there wasn't a need to make a lot of them. I mean, there wasn't, the game was small. The demand wasn't there. I mean, even when I sold the original promotional kit and I worked with Flesh and Blood to bring them to the US here to sell a bunch, to get the name out there, I mean, most patrons didn't even buy. I genuinely think, out of all the patrons, maybe 8%, maybe 10% of the patrons actually bought a variety kit. That gives you an idea. And again, it's easy to say now because we know what happened. But in that time, everybody was like, all right, well, let's give it a shot. Looks like fun. And then I knew immediately, I want to give you all my opinion. Right after we did that first Welcome to Wrath and we did the starter brick with it, which I didn't check the price of the starter brick. Is that still... I don't know if that's gone up as much because it's not really the first edition cold foil booster. It doesn't have the randomization. I don't know if it... Maybe a little bit. You have to remember, at that time, we didn't know. But right after, I remember shipping all those kits out and all these first edition original boxes out. And I remember about a week after everybody got them, I started getting feedback. I was like, hey, what's everyone think? I started getting messages from patrons saying, Rudy, this game is great. It's like an actual combat thing where when you have your attack actions and they have a reaction, you can keep kind of doing combo chains. Kind of like some sort of Mortal Kombat Street Fighter thing. You can keep running it and you have a resource thing. You have a pitch cost. You have your armor and things that you can kind of, sacrifice or use one of your leggings or armor and kind of use a one-time thing and it kind of dings it, uses it. There was a lot of really cool things. The feedback immediately was very positive. And I was blown away by right after that, the amount of people sending messages asking to buy another one. My friend wants to buy one. And that was the very first moment I knew that something's going on here. Right after I did that, because I'm not gonna BS everybody. I was very skeptical at the beginning. I'm usually very, very skeptical of carrying or discussing any new card game because they just don't stand the test of time. It is so difficult to break into the big dogs of the Pokemons and the Yu-Gi-Ohs and the Magic and, even Force of Will. I mean, it's not dead, but it's not booming. It exists. Final Fantasy, TCG. I mean, it's very challenging to make it in 2020. But I knew, that was the very first moment, everybody. I knew right after that initial launch we did, and the views were low, the thumbs down were high. But when people actually played the game, and I actually played some test games to see the mechanics of how the game is and the flow of the game, your hand size, resetting your hand size, the item. I guess the first thing that really caught me with Flesh and Blood was the actual, when you put a playmat down, in my opinion, this is the game that you kind of have to play with a playmat, because I like how the left side, you kind of have your helmet, your armor, and you kind of have I don't know, it reminds me of a Path of Exile Diablo type theme. You can feel that crossover. I love the concept of, like, you have your gear, you know, and you have, like, and the idea of getting, like, uniques and, like, different rarities, and you have your gear on your character, and then when you go to combat, the chain of, like, going back and forth and hitting and kicking, and that really, really intrigued me. But like I said, the moment I started getting feedback from the hundreds of people who bought it, and everybody was like, this is really fun. This is a great change of pace. I love the resource system. I love the pitching. I love how certain cards, the way the resources and pitching, the way the numbers balance. I like the way the armor and the uniques and the rarity and the cold foil, they don't warp. And, you know, I started and I was going, wow, this is really positive. Okay, so let me stand back over here. So now, that's what I knew. Okay, I remember contacting Legend Story Studios back, the head guy, James. I remember saying, dude, the feedback is great. This game has turned out great. So then Arcane Rising came out. Ta-da! So Arcane Rising came out, the first edition boxes. Okay? Now, when these boxes came out, we decided to do something fun, and we made that custom Rudy handmade, I don't know who he had do that artwork. It was amazing. And we did that hilarious King Throne Rudy playmouse. Hilarious. Loved it. And that was just a great, and many people just bought the Flesh and Blood kit just to get the playmat, and they sold everything else, and they kept the playmat. Because again, you could pretty much break even by selling their items, keep the playmat for free. That was kind of the promotional to get the item and the name and the game out there. Of course, everybody's regretting it now. So as of the filming of this video, the Arcane Rising boxes went from about 80 to 90 a box to about $200 to $250 a box. So the Arcane Rising boxes have already had a big move. So, moving forward now, we do know for a fact that in the holidays here, we have a reprint of the original box, the welcome boxes, and the Arcane Rising coming to market. They have labeled and changed the box. It's labeled Unlimited Edition. Reminds you of Magic, doesn't it? Kind of coincidental? Huh, maybe. So they have the unlimited new versions coming. They don't have the high-end cold foiled cards. So just one last thing for you, you want to take a quick look over here. That's why the sealed box prices are going up. Because the prices of these really rare, fabled, or for you Magic fans out there, the mythic rare type cards or the lottery level cards are super sought after and they're super expensive. All right? So we have a perfect storm scenario. We have an original, brand new product that had a very small printing on the alpha printing, in the first edition printing. You had a skeptical negative market that didn't buy into it, and everybody opened the boxes who actually got them, and nobody looked at it as an investment or a collectible. So now the natural attrition, all the boxes were open, people are playing, they're selling the singles. Go on eBay, type in Flesh and Blood, look at the listings of the secondary market. It's incredible. It's incredible. Force to Will in 2015 was the same way, but the company drove it to the ground before they all left or got fired or whatever they did. So you see this perfect storm of supply was low, first edition, the game's growing, there's barely any of the original sealed stuff left. Now you have a limited edition reprint coming that's not the same as a first edition, doesn't have the cold foils. It's going to bring more people to the game. I'm working with them now. We're going to have a variety kit of that and a promotional thing for the holidays. Very exciting. He told me there's something special in it too. James, he's holding out on me. He's not telling me what it is, but last time he said that, we had that really cool Rudy playmat. Apparently he's working on something new. Should be epic. So I wanted to give a discussion today about just what's going on. You have all these variables, a hustle in market, lack of supply. This is a true natural price increase. This isn't a price manipulation. This is truly just the game was small, it took off, the supply doesn't exist. This is the real deal. It's pretty exciting. I just wish I didn't sell all 3,000 boxes to patrons for like pennies on the dollar, because that was a huge, man, I could be retired by now. What a silly move that was. Oh my goodness. God.